In the past, we've liberated the wasteland as a United States GI. We've also oppressed, put the wasteland under a strong leader as benevolent German Hans Wurst. But this time, we'll help the wasteland become a truly utopian paradise as we spread our communism like a disease as USSR penal soldier Bliedman. With the funny mustache man invading the motherland, I was released from Gulag coal mine for daring to question our dear leader. A snowy, desolate wasteland. Looks just how I remembered her in the USSR, alright? After my eyes had adjusted from being underground for 20 years, I went to the nearest town, where my weapons were already there for me, the new conscript. Comrade Stalin really does provide us with everything we need. The weapons that I received were a crummy DP-27 or 28, depending on who you ask, machine gun, aka Stalin's record player, aka the pizza gun. I also received the SVT-40 semi-automatic battle rifle. About one of these was distributed for every 8 or so Mosins. And lastly, the PPSH-41 submachine gun, which I immediately fitted with drum magazines for maximum Dhaka delivery. And as the cherry on top, I wore a crisp USSR uniform to protect me from the blisteringly hot Siberian summer we're having. Or maybe they're just cold blisters. I can't tell with all the frostbite.
Molotovs! Torch them!
When I left the town, I made my way into enemy territory and molotoved a few raiders trying to steal my gear.
Grab a shotgun.
So I collectivized their double-barrel shotgun. After all, why not? If it's good enough for COD, it's good enough for me. With my poor knee joints buckling under the weight of my gear, I went down to the southeast to join up with the local communist resistance group. But first, I quickly ran over to Preston and told him to go fuck himself. I don't need him this time around. A little further down the road, I reached the big city and went on to play a match of Nazi zombies with my double-barrel shotgun. Having won that match, I reached Bunker Hill, where I was being yelled at. In English.
You there. Caravan or raider?
What?
I said caravan or raider. Which are you?
I no understand English, I know here. Anyway, I bought some lead so I could craft ammo for the PPSH at a chemistry workbench, like I did for the STG-44. Here I also crafted some World War II Soviet frag grenades. Next I entered the Communist HQ, cracked their security puzzle, and was given a brief history about the local group of oppressors calling themselves the Institute, and their use of an involuntary workforce, which they called SINS, for whatever reason. To prove myself to this railroad, as they called themselves, I went on my first mission for them. We were going for a full frontal assault to get into our old HQ.
We take the direct route!
And if there's one thing I know about the Soviets from films, it's that they just love doing full frontal assaults without cover. For the motherland, of course. After burning some enemies and spraying them with the DP,
Cut them down!
spraying them with the PPSH, and precisely sniping them with the SVT, we got to a vault.
No scope!
It contained a device that was far too advanced for my peasant brain to understand, and a gun belonging to the invaders. Having grabbed the device that Command wanted, I was now made an official member of this communist group. Hooray! Hoorah! The next order of business was to slowly spread our glorious message across the city like Jehovah's Witnesses. So I was tasked with smuggling a comrade to a different part of the city to undoubtedly set up a new communist cell elsewhere. After slapping around a few insolent wandering raiders, I completed my mission and was immediately given my next one. Instead of establishing a new cell, I had to check up on another, which had gone silent for whatever reason. When I got there, I grabbed a PPSH and started busting some heads. And a little more than that in a few cases. After going into the basement of the building, it had become abundantly clear that our comrades did not survive a cowardly ambush from the Nazi Institute. In the deepest part of the basement, I was challenged to a 1v1 by an affront against God. I'd say if religion was allowed in the Soviet Union, of course. Oh boy. Anyway, after molotoving it and spraying it down with the pizza gun, I went on to establish a new communist cell to compensate for the loss of the last one. After turning the local raider occupants into prime ground beef for the poor people in Leningrad, I claimed the place for the cause.
Die, you scum-sucking animal!
It was at this point that I realized that slowly spreading our communism wasn't enough for us to win this war in its entirety. So I decided to track down a detective to help me find the Institute's hidden base. After all, by using violence to liberate the city, we could easily coerce the proletariat to join our righteous cause. And from there, continue our violent revolution to spread the glory that is communism beyond our borders. With Lenin Zedong bottled back up where he belongs, I slaughtered my way through the Italian expeditionary force in the local subway. First by making sure they got their daily iron supplements with the PPSH, followed by the SVT-40 compelling them to surrender their heads. After playing my favorite song on Stalin's record player, I opened up a bunker and made my way inside. A fun fact about the PPSH-41 is that it's pronounced something like Puepesha, which the memers of the time nicknamed Papuchka. This means daddy. I swear, the second that humans became self-aware, memeing immediately followed. For example, we even know of ancient Romans carving shitpost memes into walls. After rescuing the detective, which looked a little funny, malnutrition or something, what do you do, eh? I methodically eliminated all non-commies before meeting with their big boss.
Kill them all! There will be no escape! Straight ahead!
Time to close in for the kill.
Emphasis on big. With him obviously being a capitalist, hoarding things like food for himself, I did the world a favor and collectivized his head, and divided it amongst the vault's floor. Having made our way out of the vault, the detective helped me find an Institute special agent, who would have to know the location of their main base. So off to ransacking his house we went. Too bad that it was locked, so I went forth to get the key. But remembered that I was an uncharismatic peasant, and proceeded to make her key our key. Her desk fan was also collectivized, of course. Having found a clue as to his whereabouts, I made my way to Fort Hagen, where my first move was to chuck a grenade.
Drop a grenade inside!
followed by me behaving like an absolute maniac and hurrah charging full speed, no fucks given, while firing my daddy indiscriminately. Having massacred just about everything upstairs, I headed downwards. After taking a long elevator ride there, I'd cooled off a bit and decided to take things a little more slowly for a while.
Stay where you are. Give your eyes a moment to adjust to the darkness.
The cowards may hide in shadows, but we will find them!
Then, eventually, I got to the other big man and questioned him.
So where is it? Huh? This institute. How do I get there?
But he wouldn't talk, so I made sure he'd be shutting up forever then. After grabbing a little snack for along the road, the Americans arrived in a big blimp to try and beat us to Berlin. We'll just have to pretend to be friendly then for as long as it suits us. Anyway, the detective recommended that I go to the memory den, where I was given a warm welcome.
I like you already. Walk into a new place, make a show of dominance. Nice. Good neighbors of the people, for the people. You feel me?
Oh, I feel ya, brother. Once inside the memory den, I was recognized as being a part of the railroad by a fellow commie. Here I was put into a pot, which I can only assume injected me with heaps of chems, because I was tripping balls in there. During this chem fuel trip, I dreamt up that the Institute can just disappear at will, and that some guy was hiding in a large bomb crater, which was all just ridiculous, of course. Following this dead end, I depressedly took a hike and came across a submarine. How neat. Surprisingly, it wasn't German, but Chinese. There was only one occupant aboard, and I don't know what Mao's been feeding his people, but he looks nay good. Maybe a beef jerky only diet. You are what you eat after all. He certainly looks the part. Having made fun of my Maoist comrade, I agreed to help him make his submarine seaworthy again.
You go. Get the dampening coil. Dampening coils are at a facility called Saugus Ironworks.
Aye, aye, Captain. I'll get them for you.
I am not your captain. Zhao will do.
To fix it, I had to grab a too complex for me part from the city's occupied steel mill. First, I sniped the perimeter guard from afar, followed by me closing in, and eventually entering the foundry complex.
This way, before they discover the dead.
Despite this place being hotter than the surface of the sun, there was still somehow snow inside. Or maybe it was just glass. In any event, the resistance in this place was pretty fierce, and the people occupying it could very well be treacherous Osttruppen, seeing as how they were big fans of using our patented Molotov cocktails.
They are trying to burn us out!
Eventually, I got to where I needed to be, and after hosing down an absolute chonker of a man with my PP, I retrieved the part that the sub needed. And subsequently returned to it. To get the sub running again, I needed to retrieve one more part. A prototype nuclear warhead located in the sub's launching mechanism. Unfortunately, there were other occupants that had lost their minds, to what I can only assume was a really one-sided diet. Well, too bad. I had an objective to focus on, and Comrade Stalin would have me shot for turning and running as per Order 227. After shooting my gun inside the submarine, A stellar idea there. I retrieved the nuclear warhead and installed it together with the steel mill's parts into the submarine's engine. After wishing my brother in communism a safe journey to port, I felt hopeful enough to check out my chem-fueled vision of the guy in a bomb crater. It was here where the snow mysteriously became absent, as it was being burned away by a strange warmth radiating from the enormous bomb crater. I'm sure it's fine. It's not like I've only ever known my tiny farm in my local village, leaving me blind to the technological horrors that humanity has been developing in the past 100 or so years. I also felt a little parched here, I guess, and drank some nasty water. Tasty! At the center of the crater, there were people practicing religion. That ain't allowed. What would Comrade Stalin think if I left them there to practice their religious oppression?
Kill him! His sins must not go unpunished!
I'm sure Comrade Stalin's proud of me for doing that. Anyway, I miraculously did find the jet I was looking for, who told me how to make a teleporter. And all I had to do was kill one of the most elite operatives of the Institute, a courser, and nick a part for the teleporter from him. After finding the building where that courser was, taking care of some business, I got myself in there. The Puepesha made short work of the enemies inside. Its high fire rate meant that anyone standing in the way of its barrel was magically transformed from a person into person soup. I'd also never get caught without any ammo, courtesy of the drum mag. A fun fact about those magazines is that the mags for one particular PPSH could only fit on that PPSH. If you ran out of ammo and grabbed your dead comrade's mags, the chances would be high that it would jam in no time. So if you needed a new mag after a fight for whatever reason, you'd have to go to your battalion's gunsmith to convert a mag to specifically match your PPSH. The benefits of modern modular weapons. You're not gonna deal with any of that crap anymore. When I got to the courser, I demanded the part it was holding. Somewhere. Which he obviously refused me, with him being an elite operative and all. So I littered the ground with bullet casings. And other substances. Having grabbed the part, I returned to HQ, where I was just in time to hear the plan on what to do with the Americans' Brotherhood of Steel Battalion and their blimp. HQ decided the following.
Spread the word. The Brotherhood are our enemies. There's no possibility of peace. Tinker Tom will be spearheading a fail-safe plan to deal with this Brotherhood. Codename Red Glare.
Red Glare! What a patriotic codename! Following this, I had the part analyzed, after which I returned to the crater chat, who gave me teleporter plans. After that, I told HQ of what I'd been planning all this time, and they decided to allocate resources to my grand project.
We've got work to do. This is our top priority now.
Before stepping into the teleporter, I upgraded my coat with armored plates and was briefed on my objectives, which were to serve as a double agent inside of the Institute and make contact with an unknown collaborator on the inside, called Patriot. I'd have gone with Comrade, but whatever, here goes nothing.
This place reeks of nightmares and madness.
The Institute's leader was really impressed with me and offered to recruit me. and I pretended to agree.
I'll do whatever it takes. It's worth it.
He also wouldn't shut the hell up.
Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted
Oh
was
my god, please get to the point!
so they followed the best example.
After familiarizing myself with the Institute, I contacted Patriot, who wanted to free a whole bunch of forced laborers by opening a locked security door. Unfortunately, he didn't have the key, so I had to go and grab one from an abandoned research facility. In this facility, there were a bunch of violent cannibals trying to feast on my giblets, so I made sure to kill them all. Comrade Stalin decreed that cannibalism during a siege famine is fine. Killing to get the meat, however, is punishable by death. Especially when you're trying to nibble on one of his soldiers. Having gone about my business, I partook in some parkour.
Parkour!
After which, I got the key. When I got back to HQ to report, they decided that we'd use our one strike opportunity to destroy the entire Institute from the inside, instead of freeing only a few laborers, as was Patriot's plan. But Patriot would probably not agree with us massacring all of his people, so we just use him for as long as it suited us. How devilishly devious. Next, I cleared a room full of guards, so we could steal a bunch of supplies with which we could make contraband weapons. While the laborers prepared for their inevitable insurrection, I helped the Institute out a bit to keep up the facade of my loyalty to them. So I met up with a mandatory companion and went about completing my assignment. This assignment being to betray those I was meant to be helping. One of the escaped laborers was feeling a little indiscriminately murderous since regaining his freedom, and it was my task to grab him from his sunken flotilla and bring him back to the Institute alive. In retrospect, I really feel like I should have installed a scope on my SVT here, but I simply forgot to do so and had to make do with the means I had at my disposal. Which worked out okay. After entering the main ship by means of a gondola ride, I showed a few scrubs my daddy up close, before arriving at the wacko and triggering a PTSD attack, rendering him inert. Having taken care of that, the Institute revealed to me that they'd uncovered a smuggling operation from our railroad communist group, so I wasted no time in warning HQ about it.
Can I talk to you?
Something on your mind?
The Institute knows about Bunker Hill.
Maintaining your cover is vital. But the sacrifice is just too great.
We'll lose a lot more than 4 synths if the Institute kicks me out.
No one they send out comes back alive except you. Understand?
Won't the Institute be suspicious if I'm the only one left?
You're a lot tougher than anyone else in their outfit. If only one person could survive, it would be you. And any story you come up with won't be contradicted.
With the railroad telling me, nah, your cover will be fine because bullshit, I headed off to battle. The first thing I did was off the other mandatory companion that was forcing itself upon me like a pervert. Following this, it turned out that the USS Brotherhood of Steel Battalion was also trying to weaken our organization by killing everyone here and leaving no witnesses to avoid declaring open war. I, on the other hand, had different plans and decided to have the turntables be tabled by leaving no witnesses on their side instead. As has become tradition, the heavy use of combat stims was a big help when fighting the Brotherhood in this section. Especially those sparkly Gatling guns of theirs are beyond deadly to my lightly armored battle coat. After massacring my way through the outside of the fortress, I made my way into the basement. Down here, a few expertly thrown, totally not haphazardly fumbled grenades cleared most of the room out. Following that, a little bit of mop-up with the PPSH killed the last few remaining witnesses.
Room clear!
After which, our smuggling operation here was still intact. As I predicted, the Institute was naturally suspicious of me being the only one to come back alive.
You can imagine that I find that very hard to believe, given that all the intelligence leading up to this indicated we'd taken them by surprise. Bunker Hill was to cement your place as a valuable asset to the Institute. It will now only raise suspicions. And to see the Brotherhood of Steel involved in this? They had no way of knowing what was going on.
Hey, that wasn't my fault. I mean, what? Next, the Institute wanted to upgrade their prototype nuclear power plant. And to prove my loyalty after that last debacle, it was up to me to retrieve a specific part for it from one of the tallest buildings in the city. After teleporting over there, it turned out that more Brotherhood soldiers were already there trying to make my life, well, death. Again! Anyway, I took an elevator ride downstairs, where the SVT-40 was in its element and was really good at blowing people's minds open with its effectivity. When I got downstairs, a few grams of lead richer from the elevator ride, I was ambushed. But I turned the tables again as I blew away the ambushers with Big Daddy. Speaking of blowing people away, after fixing the elevator, I grenaded a few folks. After which, a rocketeer tried to return the favor. I don't know how I survived that exactly, but I got a very satisfying shotgun head deletion for it in return. After arriving in the basement of the complex, I grabbed the thing we were after, while feeling a familiar but intense warmth radiating on my skin and bones. Oh well, just take an aspirin, it'll be fine, right? Having taken a little more than just one aspirin, I had to take care of a few weird-looking tank designs.
Their armor is no match!
And finally, I just had to fight my way outside of the building. After which, I got the reactor up and running, giving us the perfect instrument to help blow up the Institute in its entirety. Before I could inform HQ about this development, however, I was warned by one of the laborers that the Brotherhood was about to kill us all!
The Brotherhood's on their way here.
What? What are you talking about?
The Institute caught wind of a surprise attack.
Jesus. Everyone else, mobilized. We got Brotherhood incoming.
As soon as those words left my mouth, the Brotherhood entered our back door, but were quickly repulsed. After that, one of our comrades died.
Their sacrifice will not go unavenged.
It was now up to me to clear out the only remaining escape tunnel. Having saved local command, it was time to initiate Operation Red Glare. The fire rises, comrade. For this operation to succeed, we first had to collectivize a chopper from the Brotherhood on the ground, so we could fly up to their blimp and take the fight to them directly.
Today is the day of our glorious vengeance. For ourselves. And for Mother Russia.
When we arrived at the blimp, I didn't die due to bullshit.
No! You have failed!
After which, I got involved in one absolutely massive firefight aboard the blimp's crew quarters.
I've seen my friends die in front of me at the hands of this vermin. They deserve everything they get, and more.
Keep firing! Rip those vermin to shreds! Mow them down! Shoot! The back, the front, the head, whatever you wish. Just so long as they are dead. It matters not where they choose to die. Hunt them down! Kill them all!
When all was said and done, I planted charges and headed back towards the chopper.
Plant charges!
How to get out of here?
Only to almost die when the Brotherhood's leader got a few seconds to shoot at me with impunity due to a blackout fading away.
Do whatever it takes to blow the bastards to hell!
After that, I did get to the chopper and praised the Lord, Comrade Stalin, for my plated battle coat. I'd not have survived this segment otherwise. After making enough distance between us and the blimp, we detonated the charges and watched as the thing went down in flames even worse than the Hindenburg. Oh, the humanity indeed.
We have struck a great blow for the city. For all of Russia.
With the Cold War having gone a little hot, I returned to HQ.
I thought by calling Red Glare I'd lose more good people. Comrades, our next step is to attack the Institute.
Say no more. I teleported inside the Institute and gave the go-ahead to begin the insurrection, starting at the teleporter relay. With our freshly recruited communists streaming in from the city, it was time
For the final push to victory!
and the Institute reactor. To blow up their reactor, however, we first had to make our way through most of the Institute to even make it there. Not to speak of their heavy defenses, even with us staging a surprise attack.
Hunt them down like the rats they are! Be on your guard! They will fight to hold every strong point they can!
No mercy was shown to my comrades in Stalingrad. No mercy will be shown here.
An eye for an eye! More on the right!
After charging through the first few parts of the Institute's defenses, we reached their main lobby.
Raise hell!
Ah, they scatter like cockroaches in the light. Pick them off, one by one. The cowards desert their posts, but they have nowhere left to run. From this moment on, every step we take brings us closer to Berlin. Closer to victory! Closer to revenge! Hurrah!
No! It is almost over! Kill them all!
After clearing out their main lobby, I spoke with the most oblivious man in existence and quickly moved along. Now there was nothing left to stand between the Red Army and its ultimate prize. The prize of a nuclear detonation, courtesy of the Institute's exploding reactor.
As this symbol of the decadence plummets, so will their wretched rise.
Having massacred the last enemies of this campaign, I rigged the reactor to explode, teleported one last time, and finally liberated this city for the motherland, using the power of communism. As is tradition, I've left links to the mods used in this video in the description, in case you wanted to spread glorious, completely unflawed communism yourself in Fallout 4. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next one, ciao!